Alright, welcome back. It's okay, Kanon-kun. Thanks. I'm not bothered by it at all. That's a lot of dots. Kanon's silence vividly expressed the distance between Shannon's words and how she actually felt. Thank you. Even if you're the only one who understands, I feel a bit better. You keep your feelings too bottled up, Ne-san. You should be less hard on yourself for once. Yeah, thanks. Suddenly, they both felt someone's presence and whirled around. A middle-aged man stood there. It was Genji, the head servant. Genji, my man! What are you doing there? Shannon, hurry back to the kitchen. Yes, if you'll excuse me. Lots of dots. Shannon humbly obeyed and promptly made to push the cart and leave. However, Kanon appealed to Genji in silence, bearing something in his eyes that he could not express in words. What is it? Did something happen? Shh. Shannon didn't do anything wrong, but even so, they... Stop it, Kanon-kun. Please excuse me. I'll return to work immediately. Kanon-kun, you should go back to your post too. Working here sounds like hell. Please. If you say so, Ne-san. Oh, whoops. That was Shannon speaking and not the other guy. My bad. Lots of dots. If that is all, then go. Yes. If you'll excuse me. From the shadows in the hallway, an old woman wearing an apron watched over them. It was Kumasawa. Of course it was. Oh, she's lurking. Poor Shannon-san. Kanon-san. There's no reason for those two to be picked on. Still, Goda-san's dislike for them is an undeniable fact. Until Goda-san was taken in by the Ushiromiya head family, I hear he worked for a fabulous hotel somewhere. The manner of work he learned there was quite impressive, I believe. It's just that Goda-san is the newest servant here. He must have a lot of pride accumulated from his previous positions. Because Shannon-san and Kanon-kun are his seniors here at the mansion, and yet are inexperienced and have gone through much less in life than he has, he picks on them at every chance he gets. Welcome to complex Japanese social hierarchy dynamics. And also, sad as it may be, they are disliked by Madame Natsuhi too. Of course, if we're talking about experience, the madam has been in this family much longer. I would hope so, she was born into it. And yet, this is one point where I cannot help but sympathize with the madam as well. Truly, the master is a man with many sins on his conscience. Why didn't he realize that such a trifling whim of his would give the madam such an inferiority complex? Of course, on the inside, even the madam is fully aware that those two don't deserve to be treated so harshly. However, the heart has reasons that reason knows not. Who's she talking to? Ah, I feel so sorry for them. I can't do anything but watch over them from the shadows, lurking from the corner. And she's gone. Ooh, what the? Okay. Oh, legitimately wasn't expecting that. Okay. The four of us cousins were enjoying our stories, just shooting the breeze. Anyway, there were both girls and guys here. Plus, we had people over a wide spread of ages, adult, high school, and elementary school. Even if we just talked about our own lives, the other three kept listening attentively. I think I'm finally getting used to all this. Jessica and Maria have grown more than I could have imagined in the past 6 years. To be honest, I was feeling a bit uncomfortable, but talking like this, I guess that on the inside, nothing's really changed since back then. I agree. You haven't changed a bit, even after 6 years. Even though your body's gotten gigantic, you're still a kid inside. Ooh, I'm a kid too. I'm a kid too. Yes, you are. Well, even you aren't going to be a kid forever, are you, Maria? I mean, you're going to transform from a kid into a cute young lady, aren't ya? And when that happens, that flat as a board chest will reach Jessica's level, huh? This family is obsessed with boobs. When that happens, what? No. I'm not even reading that. Ew! Pervert! Ew! Objection. I have an objection to that. No, Maria-chan. You cannot make that kind of promise. That's bad, bad, bad. Yeah, you tell him, George. Ew? I promised. No. Pervert. No. No. Ooh. Maria, you really are an earnest good girl. The guy you marry's gonna be really lucky. Hey, stop trying to change the subject by making it sound pretty. Maria, that promise never happened. Never. Ooh. The promise is cancelled. Ooh. As I thought, without Battler-kun in our little quartet, this group of cousins just didn't feel complete. These 6 years have been kinda lonely. That's true. We didn't really goof off like this. Still, we did have some pretty constructive conversations, right? Stuff about preparing for our future, exam taking, finding jobs. That sounds fun. Oh, I'm so sorry. Now that I'm here, we just talk about stupid stuff and mess around. But I'm having more fun this year. Ooh. That's true. I agree, this year's the most fun yet. Maria's sincere words probably spoke for everyone present. George Anarchy stroked Maria's head and she giggled like a happy kitten. Pardon me, your meal is ready. A timid knocking sound and the equally timid voice of a young woman came through the door. Jessica answered brightly. Shannon, come in. You remember Battler, right? Jessica stood up from the bed and opened the door. There stood a servant girl who must have been about our age. It's been quite some time since we last met, Battler-sama. It's nice to see you after 6 years. It's me, Shannon. Trembling a little as she noticed me, she bowed deeply. Ah, Jessica had me surprised, but look at you, Shannon-chan. You've turned into a total beauty too, haven't you? You are too kind. Still, the food on this island must be really nutritional, huh? Oh, God. What are you eating? And how are you training to get boobs that big? Oh, God. Guess I'll have to feel them a bit and see whether yours or Jessica's are bigger, okay? Someone kick him. With both hands poised and saliva dribbling from my mouth, I closed in. For the sake of justice and my personal honor, I'd like to point out that I don't suffer from some strange disease that makes my lymph nodes itch until I scratch my neck open and which can only, be prevented by fondling breasts. The hell did I just read? This is just a Battler-style method of communication. Oy. If I slowly close in on her like this, odds are 8 or 9 out of 10 that I get slapped or clobbered, right? So I can use this Battler-sama original technique to spark a gag like that and break the ice. Well, it also means I really do get to touch them on that 1 in 10 chance though, right? Ihihahahah. Like that'd ever happen. Oh my goodness. At that point, my hands were less than a centimeter away from Shannon-chan's boobs. But the counter-strike had yet to come. She blushed and lowered her head in embarrassment when she realized what was going on. But she just stood there, with both hands politely joined in front of her, not even trying to resist or cover her breasts. Hey, I wasn't planning on this. Please hit me right now or I'm seriously gonna... Which is why I was glad that Jessica chose that time to drive her elbow into the back of my head. Thank you, Jessica. Ow! Thank you so much, Jessica. Why the hell are you thanking me? Seriously, my bad, Shannon-chan. I almost got overwhelmed by your hypnotic chest. Yes, this was... God. More importantly, anyone who gets that close has got to be a molester. What? You've got to fight back when people do that. Oh. But you are an important guest, Battler-sama. This is going places I'm not quite fond of. Now look here, a pervert's a pervert whether he's a guest or not. A girl's chest has got an... what? Air defense identification range of about 10 centimeters or so. Once someone trespasses within 2 centimeters, that's already an invasion of airspace, so you'd better scramble the jets immediately and give them an instant slap. Whew. I couldn't do such a thing. Because we are, furniture. Oh no. Of course, she didn't want her breast touched, but if a guest so desired, she was prepared to sacrifice herself to suit their wants. A girl like this needs some urgent protection. To think such devoted girls still existed in this era. It's enough to make a man dizzy. But no. I'm coming at you with a perverted face again. Knock me down. Look out, pervert on the loose. This gag can't end until you deliver the punchline, so slap me. Please. I think Battler-kun has some kinks. Hit me! I cannot fulfill your request because I'm furniture. But if it were an order, I'd obey you. Oh God. This is just actually getting worse. Because that is my duty. Ahaha, then I'll make it an order. The next time Battler-kun tries to touch your breasts, counter-attack with a slap. Got it? Yes, as you wish. From now on, that's what I'll do. Please understand, Battler-sama. Shannon-chan announced this while bowing elegantly to me. Her expression was radiant. I gave her a thumbs up to show her I was fine with that. 6 years ago, you might have been mistaken for a servant's daughter who lent a hand at your parents' work. But now you're a full-fledged adult servant. The dream, clearly. How long have you been working here? Well, I've had the pleasure of serving this household for about 10 years. She's... I know how to read that as sa. The kanji for her name are read as Shannon. Now here's another name that's far from typical for a Japanese person. Yeah, no shit. Back in the day, I was a kid myself, so I accepted her name without paying it much attention. Thinking about it now though, her name's pretty unusual, even though she's not a member of the Ushiromiya family. Maybe it's like a servant's professional name or something. What? If so, that might explain why her name's so similar to Kanon-kun, that kid we met earlier in the Rose Garden. She's a long-term servant who served here since she was 6 years old. Her appearance had changed so much that I couldn't match her to the person in my memories, but we both knew each other 6 years ago. The shy part of her had always been there, but she did seem to have developed the allure you'd expect of a girl her age. Especially... Moving on. That kid we met earlier, Kanon-kun, is her little brother. He's not exactly my little brother. Still, he loves me like a big sister. He didn't cause you any trouble, did he? Haha, he's the same as always. If only he were just a bit more sociable. I apologize if he's caused you any trouble. Nah, he didn't cause any trouble at all. As a fellow man, I understand how moody you can get at that age. It's no surprise he's unsociable. Ooh, I get called that all the time too. I get called unsociable. Just like Kanon. Ooh. Giggle, you aren't unsociable at all, Maria-sama. Ooh. Wanted to be like him. Ooh. You said the meal was ready, right? It's probably cold by now, jeez. Ah, yes. I'm sorry. Your meal has been fully prepared, so please allow me to guide you all to the mansion. Shannon bowed again formally and returned to her duty mode. We realized that if we made her stick around for any more light conversation, it would actually make it harder for her to do her job. We got up off our butts to avoid interfering with her work any further. So, shall we go to the mansion? Everyone's probably hungry, right? Yeah, I'm really looking forward to Goda-san's food. That guy was apparently a chef at this famous hotel, so he's super good at cooking. Ooh, I can't wait. Let's go, Maria. We're gonna stuff ourselves like pigs. Ooh, stuff ourselves like pigs. No. You can't take everything Battler-kun says seriously, okay? Because he's always just joking around. Okay, let's go. What's for dinner? Under Shannon-chan's guidance, we headed towards the mansion. Mansion, flowers, maze, more mansion. Met once again by the magnificent rose garden, we continued onward as the intimidating mansion of the Ushiromiya head family came into view. It had apparently been built shortly after the war, so you could feel the dignity of almost a half-century hanging about it. The building was gorgeous on the surface, but old as it was, equipment such as its AC and heating were apparently quite frail. According to Jessica, midwinter was especially tough, what with all the drafts. Haven't these people ever heard of a kotatsu? Oh, I miss my kotatsu. Ooh. And we're inside. Ooh. As we entered the entrance hall, an aged servant greeted us. Genji! Now him I remembered. Genji-san, who had been working here longer than anyone, filled the role of head servant. Battler-sama, it has been quite some time since last we met. As our eyes met, he greeted me with a calm, composed voice. His bow wasn't as graceful or refined as Goda's, but despite its simplicity, it communicated his feelings very well. Genji-san, it really has been a while. You look well. Thank you. I have been quite well. And Battler-sama, you have become a splendid young man. You are beginning to resemble the master in his youth. Oh my, I look like grandfather? Guess that means grandfather was pretty popular with the ladies when he was young, hee. From here on, I shall take Shannon's place and accompany you. Please come this way. Shannon-chan bowed deeply and watched us leave. After that, we headed towards the dining room under Genji-san's guidance. Genji-san, just like Kumasawa-san, stood in stark contrast to us young people, who had grown beyond recognition over the last 6 years. His appearance was exactly the same as in my memories from 6 years ago. It was as though time had stopped since the last time we met. Genji-san was an extremely quiet and diligent person. He was basically grandfather's close aide or caregiver. And you might even call him grandfather's companion of many years. In fact, it seems he was by grandfather's side even more often than my late grandmother was. According to Jessica, grandfather trusted him more than any of his blood relatives. Well, have you seen his relatives? But I wonder how long he's served. I never got the details, but I heard something about him being here since the very beginning, when this mansion was first constructed. Which would mean that he's dedicated half his life to serving here. It's easy to see why he's so trusted. As we passed through a massive hall that extended up into the second story of the mansion with no separating floor, I spotted something that hadn't existed in my memory of 6 years ago. Ooh, what's this? It's the painting. Beatrice! It was an awfully big portrait hanging right in front of the stairs that rose to the second floor. Without thinking, I stopped walking, captivated by it. Since I'd stopped so fast, Maria, who was following behind me, ran into my back. Ooh? Ah, sorry. Hey, Jessica, has that picture always been there? I pointed at the big, prominently displayed portrait in the hall. Everyone else stopped too. Oh, right. When you last came here, that hadn't been hung yet, had it? When was it again? Well, if my memory doesn't fail me, it was put on display sometime around the year before last. You are correct, sir. In April of the year before last, the master put it on display there, having previously ordered a painter to create it. Grandfather did that? So he paid to have it painted just for him, huh? The portrait suited this Western mansion, and that woman in the elegant dress gave off a sense of refinement. I couldn't have guessed her age, but her sharp eyes and the strong will she seemed to possess made her look youthful. She seemed somehow different from the composed, middle-aged women you often see in famous pictures. If she had normal black hair, I might have assumed it was a portrait of my long-deceased grandmother in her prime. However, she had beautiful blonde hair and didn't look Japanese at all. So, just who is this lady? Maria answered that simple question enthusiastically, as though proud she knew the answer. Ooh, I know! She's Beatrice. What? Beatrice. She's a witch. She's a witch! Didn't you ever hear stories about her long ago? A witch? You mean the witch of this island? Ooh, yeah, now we're getting to the story. I think I already said this, but Rokkenjima is a small island, only 10 kilometers in circumference. However, that's actually pretty massive considering that only the Ushiromiya family lives here. Seriously, that's pretty big. So only the harbour and the area around the mansion were set up to be lived in. Beyond that, the island remained as untouched as when it was uninhabited. The vast and empty forest had absolutely no lights, phones, or people passing through. Oh, I want to go in there. To understand how dangerous that is, you need to forget your common sense as a city dweller. After all, if you happen to fall down a hole in the depths of the forest and sprain your ankle, no one would come save you, no matter how much you cried or screamed. Then, once the sun went down, the forest would be wrapped in complete darkness, since there were no streetlights. And since there were no signs, it'd be easy to get lost and confused, losing your sense of direction inside that dark forest. Nowadays, most people see a forest as a peaceful place. But to the people of bygone eras, before the light of civilization drove out the night, forests were as geographically separated from civilization as the sea. They were oceans above the ground. Ooh. Fishermen who go out into the ocean are putting their lives at risk, despite their technical knowledge. In the same way, hunters who go out to the forest are in danger, despite having specialized knowledge of their own. If children were to go play in such a dangerous forest, something terrible might happen. Someone's parents must have thought so. Maybe grandmother first said it, or maybe it was grandfather himself. Or perhaps the story's been passed down on this island since ancient times. There's a terrible witch in the forest, so you must not go in. At some point, the ghost story of Dokkenjima was born. This is the legend of Dokkenjima's witch. That's why, when we talk about a witch on this island, we're referring to the master of that vast and savage forest. Yeah, boy! Come to think of it, when I stayed at this mansion as a little kid, during those eerie nights when the wind and rain pounded on the windows, I remember being terrified by a story of the forest witch who roamed around searching for human sacrifices. Yeah! So, Beatrice, huh? When Aniki mentioned it, I searched my memory and was sure I recalled hearing a name like that when I was little. I see. Still, I totally forgot about the witch in that legend had an elegant name like Beatrice. So did grandfather go out of his way to have a portrait made just because we grandchildren didn't believe the story? She's the witch from grandfather's delusions. Ever since he had this picture hanged, he's been having a harder and harder time telling the difference between truth and fantasy. To us, she's just a witch that exists in grandfather's mind. But to him, she's a being that exists on this island. Exists. He says he had that painting made because the rest of us would be incapable of understanding otherwise. Humph, this whole thing's creepy as hell. Milady, this portrait is precious to the master. I beg of you, do not say such things in front of him. I know. Even if you didn't tell me, I'd never do something like that. Jessica glanced at the portrait with an irritated gaze before turning away. Let's go. We're making everyone wait in the dining room. Ooh, I'm hungry. Yeah, me too. Only a small portion of this island was controlled by the Ushiromiya family. All of the lawless remainder was the domain of the witch, Beatrice. You might even call her the true ruler of Dokkenjima. I felt a faint revival of that unsettling sense of misfortune, which I'd felt when I learned of the tutelary god's shrine being struck by lightning. And I remembered that Kumasawa-san tried to tell an ominous story about Dokkenjima before Jessica stopped her. I don't know what she was planning to tell us about this island. But I do know one thing. It isn't the Ushiromiya family that rules Dokkenjima. It's the witch, Beatrice. That's right. After all, this is the witch's island. Battler! Ooh, you're slow! When I looked around, everyone was already heading towards the dining room. I hurriedly chased after them. We walked up to the huge double doors that led to the dining room. Genji-san knocked. I have brought the children. Please pardon the intrusion. The doors were opened, and we were invited inside. Alright, we're going to end this episode here, and I'll see you again in the next one. See ya!